I was 14 the year my world began to shift. My uncle, my mom's younger brother, moved in with us after he lost his job. He was supposed to stay for a few weeks, maybe a month. He had always been the fun uncle, cracking jokes, bringing gifts, calling me his favorite niece. I never had a reason to be afraid of him. But something changed after he moved in. He started acting different. Too attentive. Too close. At first, it was subtle, a hand that lingered too long on my shoulder, a tone in his voice that made me feel small and unsure. I didn't know how to explain it. I didn't even have the words. I told myself I was imagining it. That I was being dramatic. That maybe I was the problem. So I said nothing. But deep down, something in me knew things were no longer safe. He'd find reasons to be alone with me. He'd sit too close. Ask questions that felt too personal. And every time I tried to put distance between us, he'd guilt-trip me. "I'm just looking out for you," he'd say. "You're like a daughter to me." One evening, I was in my room reading when I heard footsteps in the hallway. My mom was coming up the stairs. At the same moment, he stepped into the room without knocking. Just as quickly, he stepped back out, smiling like nothing had happened. He leaned in close before leaving and whispered, "You know, no one would believe you anyway." I remember sitting there for hours after, staring at the closed door, not knowing what I was supposed to do with what just happened. Or what almost did. That was the moment something inside me locked up. I didn't know how to name what I was feeling, but I knew how to hide it. How to pretend everything was okay. How to wear the mask. And that's how the silence began. After that night, I became two versions of myself. There was the me that everyone saw smiling, showing up to school, answering questions in class, even laughing when someone told a joke loud enough to demand it. And then there was the me that lived in silence. I flinched when people got too close. I stopped dancing, even though I used to love it. I avoided mirrors because I didn't recognize the girl staring back. She looked normal. But I knew better. She was unraveling. He didn't stop. I wish I could say it ended after that close call. But it didn't. If anything, he got bolder, smarter about when and how. And I got quieter. Better at pretending. Better at swallowing the guilt I didn't even earn. Sometimes I wondered if maybe it was my fault. I questioned everything I wore, everything I said. Was I too friendly? Did I smile too much? Did I not say no loud enough even if I said it at all? I once tried to tell my mom in the only way I could. I didn't say it outright. I just said I didn't feel safe. That maybe he shouldn't be living with us anymore. She looked at me like I'd said something blasphemous. "That man saved us," she said. "He's been more of a father to you than anyone else. Be more respectful." I remember nodding. Apologizing, even. And then locking myself in the bathroom and crying until I was sick. That night, I buried my face in my pillow, gasping, sobbing so hard I couldn't catch my breath. My heart ached in ways I didn't know were possible. And that was when I made a promise to myself, one I didn't even have the courage to speak aloud. One day, I'll make it stop. I was 17 when everything inside me finally cracked. I'd kept it in for 3 years, buried it beneath schoolwork, behind fake smiles, under baggy sweatshirts. But by then, the weight was no longer something I carried. It carried me. I stopped eating regularly. I couldn't sleep. The nightmares were relentless. His voice. His hands. The way I would wake up drenched in sweat, gasping, even though it hadn't happened in a while. School became a blur of failing grades and blank stares. I was exhausted. Not just in my body, but in my bones and my soul. And one night, I just broke. I remember standing in the bathroom, the door locked behind me. I held a razor blade in my hand. Not because I wanted to end it. But because I needed to feel something real. Something sharp. Something that was mine. My hand trembled. And then I heard it. A knock. It was my little sister. Her voice on the other side of the door was small, barely a whisper. Sis? Are you okay? You've been in there a long time. That voice. That innocence. It cut deeper than any blade ever could. I dropped the razor. My hands were shaking so bad, I could barely unlock the door. When I opened it, she looked up at me wide eyes, confused. I hugged her. Hard. I didn't let go for a long time. Because in that moment, I realized something terrifying. If I didn't stop him, he might choose her next. And that was the night everything changed. The very next morning, I walked into the school counselor's office, sat down, and whispered, I need to tell you something. They say the truth sets you free. But no one talks about the chaos it leaves behind first. The counselor listened. She didn't flinch. She just nodded, gently, and said, thank you for telling me. Then came phone calls, reports, interviews. I felt like I was walking through fog, every step heavy, like I was dragging something invisible but enormous. A social worker came. She was kind. Soft-spoken. Wore a sunflower pin. She helped me find the words I couldn't say without choking. Helped me understand that I wasn't wrong for speaking. But then, the truth went home. And everything exploded. My mom didn't hold me. She didn't ask me if I was okay. She screamed. Screamed words I'll never forget. Why would you say something so evil about him? About family? My uncle cried. He held his chest like I'd stabbed him. She's confused, he said. I would never. She's making it up. Maybe she's been watching those bad films. Some relatives started praying for me like I was cursed. One even suggested I was under spiritual attack. They asked if I'd been associating with bad friends. No one asked why I waited so long. No one asked how I was feeling. I was removed from the house. Temporarily, they said. For my safety. I packed my things in silence. My mom stood by the door, arms folded. She didn't even look at me. The car ride to the shelter was quiet. My chest ached, but no tears came. It was like I had cried them all out already. I wasn't angry. Not yet. I was just empty. Because the hardest part of telling the truth isn't saying it. It's realizing who would rather believe a lie. And that night, in a strange bed with unfamiliar blankets, I asked the ceiling, what if I had just kept quiet? I'm 26 now. I live in a small apartment with peeling paint and sunlight that pours in just right around 7 a.m. Most days, it's quiet except for the soft purring of my cat. Her name is Mercy. I didn't name her that for nothing. Therapy didn't fix me overnight. It didn't erase the memories or rewrite the past. But it gave me tools. A voice. And for the first time in years, a sense that I belonged to myself. Some days, I still cry. Sometimes for the girl I was. Sometimes for the girl I might have been if none of it had happened. But I don't drown in that grief anymore. I let it pass like a storm. I wait for the sun. I still carry the scars. But they don't define me anymore, they remind me. Of the strength it took to survive. Of the war I fought in silence and won with truth. My mom and I, we don't talk. Maybe we never will. I grieved her long before I left that house. My uncle? He's serving time now. He didn't go quietly, but he went. That chapter is closed. And my little sister? She knows. She's safe. Fierce. And free in ways I hope I helped make possible. That's my peace. Some people think healing is a clean line like walking through a door and leaving the pain behind. But healing is messy. It's relapses and relearning. It's taking 3 steps forward, 2 steps back. It's finally sleeping through the night and then having one where you don't. But it's mine. Every bit of it is mine. I used to whisper my pain. Now I speak loudly, not for revenge, but so the next girl knows. You're not alone. And you're not to blame.